who's out there who's going to be able to help you. So Devjan, do you want to talk a little bit about the support structures and some of the work-life balance issues and how you handle that?
I think work-life balance is that one of those myths we create that we can never achieve. I don't think you men also achieve work-life balance. It's maybe you just crib less about it than us. But it's really, I think it's prioritization, as Bharti said. I think for us women, it's more about accepting the priorities, or as I call it, the trade-offs. Because you have to make some trade-offs, and the goalposts are always changing. So as Vinita said, at some point you may choose to put the family first, at some point you'll have to choose to put work first, but when you do that, there is something else you're putting second, right? And those trade-offs are not easy, because and I think as women, or at least I'll speak personally here, that's what hurts me the most, because when I used to make those trade-offs, I would not come to terms with them in my own head. So what used to hold me back a lot was just the voice inside the head, which kept saying, but you're doing this and it's not right. There's something else that is not getting enough attention because you've chosen to focus on this. The day I sort of learned how to make peace with the voice inside my head and my heart, I think that was the day when I started finding peace with in what I do, and that was extremely important. So you have to accept trade-offs. All this, it's completely insane, the kind of image we build of women, this whole perfect women, and what she's supposed to do doesn't exist. We're human beings first, period. That's what we are. And all of us will have our plus points and our minus points. And I think we have to accept those. We have to accept the trade-offs. There is no way we are going to be able to do it all. That's a fact. Just make peace with it and ensure that your partner, your family, your boss, your peers know what those trade-offs are. What have you prioritized? Because if they don't know, that's when the other issues start. They have to know what those priorities are, and you have to have a very long, convincing negotiation process to ensure that they're ready to support you in that journey.
So I'm just going to ask Sunita to come in before we turn to you for questions. And so Sunita, on this, but also on philanthropy. I mean, you of course have worked in a manner which, and in a space which is quite unusual. But the common thread through the book was most of the women have given of their time to other causes. And I was quite struck by that again. I don't think you would get that sort of common thread across 30 men in power. And I don't know if you want to comment on that as well.
No, definitely, NAINA. But very quickly on work-life balance, I have to be very truthful. My sister is in the audience, so if I say anything different, she's going to eat my head up tonight. I have no work-life balance. But the only thing is that I actually enjoy my work so much that my work is my life, and it sort of pans out that way. And also, I keep thinking, I grew up with a mother who had 4 daughters to bring up. And she worked, she had a business, she did her business, she brought us all up, and more than that, she had such joy of living. I mean, she was Delhi's best gardener, she did the amazing flower arrangements, she lived life fully. I think we tend today, my younger colleagues talk a lot about work-life balance. I think it's very much part of what we all are, and our ability to live and do whatever we want at every minute. And I think that's really what comes out in the book, that everyone did that. And as far as philanthropy is concerned, I think, in what does come out is that in the book, Naina, is that every one of the women actually went out to do more than what they needed to do. And I think that's what's very important in all our lives. In my work is to protect the environment. It is to push to try and get something done. And I have always worked in that space, and I've always believed that that space is a space that is very, very important for this country. And I started work in 1980 when the word environment was not even known. Nobody even understood what environment was. At most, it was seen as some pretty trees, some tigers. And today, I think for all the people in this room, it is something very living. It is something we believe in, something that we strongly think has to be fixed. So in that sense, the country has come a long way. All of us have come a long way. And I think that gives me an enormous sense of optimism that we can get it right.
Fascinating. Fascinating. Hello. Hello. Yeah, I'll repeat that again. Fascinating. It was really absorbing, and I'm so glad each one of them spoke so well. The question answer session now. Yes, Mr. Deepakur.
Do I use a mic or should I speak? Thank you. Just let me three prime ministers in Africa and to a leader in India. First, may I compliment these 5 outstanding daughters of India. We're so proud that you are out there. And on behalf of all the men in this room and the men outside, we apologize for whatever obstacles we erected on your career path. Ma'am, just one question. You said that 2 of the ingredients of success, you talked of ambition and you talked of humility. A great Indian was once asked by an Australian journalist, "You are the cusp of the wave of the people of India. How are you so humble?" And he responded, "Because I have abandoned ambition." This great Indian's name was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. How do you reconcile ambition and humility?
Yeah, I think if you hear some of the responses, it's ambition described as a desire to excel. So if you look at it as a desire to excel, I think even Mahatma Gandhi would have said that it is something that you would marry with humility. I think the humility is, as you heard from Bharti and others, is something which doesn't come naturally. It's something that you keep reminding yourself about. And it's in an organization or in a company, you have to be very careful how you balance these out. Because at one level, the humility actually goes against women progressing. Because women expect to be recognized for what they do, and they don't push hard enough. And I love to tell this story in that I often will have guys that pop out of the woodwork as I'm going to the loo. You know, they attach themselves to me, pushing their cause and making their story known. They'd follow me into the loo if they could. And the women who couldn't come with me into the loo never do. So women don't push as hard. They're much more humble about what they've done. And I think that is a lesson which many of us who mentor young women help to get them to realize that there has to be a little bit more to it. So I think I would view it, when we say ambition, more an ambition to excel. Its negative side of ambition would be to compete, to kill the person next to you, etc. I think Vinita also said that it's not about that.
Yeah. If I can supplement, it's nice to see you after a long time, Deepak. Really, ambition for me was really another word for desire and determination to excel. As NAINA had said, I'd also said this. And an effective way, I think, is to drive oneself forward. I think it's not an end in itself, it should never be, but really the means to an end. So I think it's to be taken in that spirit, really.
And I mean, the counter of it is, if you didn't have ambition, you wouldn't push yourself to the next level. So you need it too.
You know, in the corporate world, women need a mission, and that's one ingredient that is lacking today. Because when there is a job opening, when we announce that, okay, we're going to hire so-and-so, and there's data that shows that men will put up their hand for a promotion when they believe they're 30% ready. Women will put up their hand for promotion when they believe they're 80% ready. right? That's data, it's proven, and I see it every day. I see it in Intel, I see it in other companies, I see it every day. So ambition in our world, in the corporate world, is having the ability to stand up and say, I want that job, I want my manager's job, and there's nothing wrong with that. Because there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I can stand up and say, I want that job because XYZ, I believe I have the right skill sets, etc., without having to bring someone else down or without having to demean someone else or kill someone else. So I've never struggled with that, but I would strongly advise young girls who are entering the corporate profession, they have to be ambitious. They have to let other people know they are ambitious. Because when we hire those who are really hungry, who want the job. And that's what doesn't happen today.
Mohandas Gandhi, he did have ambition. He did not have personal ambition. I think, there's in management theory, the guy called Jim Collins who actually described it really well. Personal and determination from a professional point of view. So I think, for me, that reconciles it.
Yes, Sagri.
Yes, I'm Sagari Chabra. I'd like to congratulate all of you. It's wonderful. We need role models. I'm a working woman and I'm a mom. I'm a single mother. What surprises me in society is that if you want to work, it's your problem. If you want to be a mother, it's your problem. If you're managing it, great. But if anything goes wrong, wow, it's your fault. Now what really takes my breath away, and I have been writing letters to the high and mighty in Delhi saying that when land is transferred in the name of the people, every building, including your Habitat Center, whatever, your India International Center, whatever, okay? Every building will have a parking lot, it will have a men's washroom, a women's washroom, it will have a front desk, it will have a fire exit, and so on and so forth. It will not have a children's room. So that people, men and women, who have children, everyone has children, everyone who are using that building for bona fide purposes, should be able to leave their child for a specific period of time in a safe room, which we will fill with educational toys and good books. We mothers and fathers, we are not going to abandon our children. They are our lifeline. But what amazes me is how society looks at the other way. I have written to the India International Center. When we had a woman director, I got no reply. I wrote to all the trustees. In fact, I was mocked at, okay? Now, child rape, these are the statistics by the National Crime Bureau, has gone up 300%, and these are only the recorded figures. People say, Aya rakho. What happens to the children of that maid who leaves her child alone? Then you want to amend the Juvenile Justice Act because children are doing heinous crimes. What happens to society? And in Scandinavian countries, the state has childcare rooms. I mean, in every building. Only exception is Gymkhana Club, which is why I spend so much time here. There's a children's room. Right now, I came here because I wanted to listen to this. And I was in the library, and then I put my child in the children's room. She's under care. So why I urge all of you influential people, all the brilliant women, brave women on the panel, and everyone here to write to the powers that be, to get a children's room sanctioned in every building, transferred in the name of the people.
Thank you, sir.
It's a good point, really good point. And the good news is that many companies now, many of us do have creches in our buildings. Interestingly though, we've had comments from some of our female staff that they don't necessarily want to lug the kids to work on trains and take them back to Bombay, for example. And what they would therefore prefer is facilities nearer their homes. So we now give them some money for if they want to have that alternative. So I think it varies from situation to situation, but the corporate world is moving towards recognition of creches, at least in some of their buildings.
We only have such few people in the corporate.
Yes, ma'am. The lady at the back. After this. Yes.
I'm a hepatobiliary and pancreatic surgeon. I'm a hepatobiliary and pancreatic surgeon from Johns Hopkins Hospital, Baltimore.
And I have been through this academic surgical track in the US for 18 years. And I'm just going to present to you the data which is the latest analysis in the US for women in academic surgery. I'm talking about university hospitals, so the top university hospitals and not private practitioners. The number of women entering a medical school class in the US is 60%. So medical school class, 60% are women. The percentage of women who enter a surgical residency program is 10 to 20%. The number of women who enter the university faculty level, which is assistant professor level, is on an average 4 to 5 in a department. The number of women who have become department chairs in the history of American surgery is 3. One of which is the chairman of surgery at Johns Hopkins, who had a very bitter time because Hopkins is a male-dominated university. The number of women who have become deans of schools of medicine is 0 in the United States. So there was this article on is there still a glass ceiling for women in academic surgery in the US? It's a featured article and it's a top editorial written on this publication. It concludes by stating that the glass ceiling for women in academic surgery is the thickest in medicine. So it's great to see all of you out there, but the glass ceiling is very thick for women worldwide. And it's not going to be easy breaking that. There are men and women contributing to these glass ceilings or to the breaking of these glass ceilings. And it goes beyond than just personal battles we have fought to fight this glass ceiling. So I think we should acknowledge the existence of this glass ceiling. It's not a wonderful world out there, no matter how many great fathers and husbands we have.
Thank you, ma'am. Jen Mathers.
You see, my observation generally, I'm General Ashok Mehta. I'm PhD from IIT Delhi. I've been partly into the management teaching. My observation has been that today the girls are doing far better than boys in academics. Yes, but certainly I suppose once they enter the married life, then the priorities have to change, and I would still say that your first priority after getting married should be your family, right? Now, equal men, women are equal, but the fact remains that man can't do the job which the mothers can do. So, I mean, no, that's a fact. There's no denying. Yeah.
We respectfully disagree.
Okay, now insofar as the leadership, you mentioned a few attributes.
Okay, we agree to disagree.
Yeah. You see, some attributes.
Except for the fact that women do better than men in college.
But they have to balance. I mean, they definitely have to have more balancing act than the men. You know, because I can see my daughter, she is in a senior position with the Taj Group, and how she balances her work life and the family life. It's a tough job. Sometimes you feel sorry for her, but that is there. Okay, now insofar these the leadership qualities which you mentioned, yes, I think the most important, integrity. You can say passion, certainly it's there. Hard work, commitment, passion, you put them all together into one. But integrity is a